All right, it's giving me. All right, actually, can everybody? Well, I can't see my screen anymore. But so just to let everybody know who we have involved here, I'm going to just kind of go through some people here. I see online right on this thing here, Adam Swift, he's from the South Jersey chapter. Chris Cox is from NJDOE, has been a tremendous help in looking at some good things, so we're hoping to hear from him. Fran Trees has been my mentor here at Rutgers for many years. John Haydu is president of Central New Jersey. Lynn is the president of Southern New Jersey. Monisha has been very involved with it from TCNJ. Michelle's our guru here helping us out. Pat has been leading professional development at Kane for years and years with the CS4 HS. Who's this one? Tony has some connections with political connections. And the last one is me. Hopefully on the other end, we still have Myra, and Steve is over there at some point. I don't know if Steve can jump in or not, but just lots of people from colleges, from Department of Education, from K12 teachers. An amazing group of people. So let me just share my PowerPoint and try to get through it as quickly as we can, since I kind of lost 15 minutes. Just could somebody tell me, can you see that?
Yes, we can see it.
Yes.
Yep, we can see it.
Okay.
I'm gonna go back to me.
Steve Filson just texted to say, how does he get to the YouTube channel? So Michelle, can you just make sure Steve Filson gets to that?
I'm in the call. I'm in the call now, but other people may not know how.
Okay.
Okay. I just put the link in the chat there, and I also just put the link on. I resent another email as well.
Okay.
So
all right. Let's get started.
Should be able to follow.
Thank you, Michelle, very much. So let's get started and kind of run through this to kind of bring us up to date. As I said, when a few people were on the line, 2017 is kind of a make or break year for computer science education in New Jersey. I was fortunate enough to go out to Arizona and meet up with Chris Cox out there. There was a governor's computer science and K12 Frameworks convening that's sponsored by Codeorg. And at that convening, there are 22 different states, and we found out a lot about it. But the number one thing I came out of there with is that we're starting to fall behind. In some of the other states, the efforts are being led through the governor's office or the Department of Education, and they are getting things done in 6 months or a year that's been taking us 4 years ago. Fortunately, because we have such a strong foundation, if we have a good 2017, we will be back up in the top 5 states in the nation as far as computer science education and what we have in the past. However, if we have a poor 2017 without much progress, we're just going to fall to the middle of the pack. So that's kind of where we are. So for those who don't know, CSNJ was developed about 3 years ago as kind of an advocacy efforts for CSTA. It's kind of been on and off again, and there have been periods of time where we've been involved as a group, and there's been periods of time where it's just been me, but that's kind of what's going on with it. So an overview for this is I want to talk a little bit about the summary of the K12 frameworks and the governor's CS convening, talk a little bit about the legislation and what's going on with that, and then what we can do, and as far as professional development also. So, and thanks to Lynn for putting a lot of these slides together. So the goals for CSNJ were developed 3 years ago, and they've been modified this year. And these goals actually go align very well with Codeorg's goals, but professional development, computer science teaching endorsement, you can read the goals that are there. So those are the goals that we have. Please, at any time, if somebody, I can't see faces anymore with this up, so if anybody wants to say something, please jump in at any time. Actually, I have no idea if I'm even talking to anybody right now, honestly, but hopefully you're still there. So what other states are doing? There are some states where the governor has, in his re-election campaign, the governors have talked about computer science education. The leader of that is Hutchinson, I think his name's Hutchinson, in Arkansas, talked about computer science. And with that effort, their computer science education is growing incredibly. What other states are doing is they're putting an educational specialist in charge of computer science in the Department of Education or in the governor's office to make things to make things move forward. So they have a point person. As of right now, New Jersey hasn't had a point person, but Chris has been instrumental of having some conversations at the Department of Education and doing that. So Chris, do you want to just say anything about that real quickly?
Yeah, hey, thanks guys for inviting me tonight. I appreciate it. It's been kind of an interesting journey that Daryl's kind of leading me on. I can tell you that there is a new focus at the Department of Ed for us to kind of take what is in place and learn from what's happening kind of nationally and move forward with computer science in New Jersey. I can't tell you that we have a definitive plan. You know, it's still kind of in that discovery area where we're trying to, you know, just take a look at the landscape. I just posted a link that kind of gives you an idea. It's some reading that kind of follows up what Daryl had just mentioned about what's happening with other states and what they're doing and how they're moving along. So anyway, I'm just trying to better understand the landscape, you know, in our own state. I have to admit I'm new to computer science in New Jersey, but at least for the time being, I'm willing to kind of be your voice at the Department of Ed and help as best I can move things along for computer science in New Jersey.
And Chris, that's just going to be huge. So I'm really looking forward to working more with you and seeing what you get out of this meeting here today. So, so one thing I do want to mention is there's something called the K12 Frameworks and the Computer Science Standards that have both been developed within the last year. The K12 Frameworks, there's about 5 or 6 organizations led by Codeorg that created these things. They're awesome. I mean, they just have so much information about what you should do in your state to get computer science, what knowledge you need to know, and so forth. And then the computer science standards have been revised by CSTA. Because of some communication issues, they're not, they're in draft form, but actually the draft form is going to be the final form, and they'll be released this year. Oh, one thing I didn't even put in here is they'll be released this year at the CSTA conference in Baltimore. So, and hopefully we get a bunch of us to go down to that conference in Baltimore. One cool piece of information is I'm on the Praxis is coming, they're coming out with a Praxis for computer science teachers. Currently there's a Praxis out there that was created by Texas, and a few states use it, but for the most part there's not a national Praxis exam. So there's a National Advisory Committee that we met at ETS back in November and created some knowledge statements. CSTA just put out an email about that this week. We'll be meeting again in March, and then after that they'll start creating test questions and so forth, and a new Praxis exam will be released in September of 2018, which gives us in New Jersey the opportunity to someday have the computer science teacher certification in addition to the endorsement that we have. So I want to continue with the endorsement, but also have the certification. As you guys know, the standards were passed in computer science back in October of 2015. One of the cool things we learned is that New Jersey is one of only 6 states to have any type of computer science standards. Sue Sullivan was involved with those, and Myra and I, she came to Myra and I. The standards are very, very basic, but at least they're a good start. At least it puts us in one of those 6 states. And that's what I'm talking about, where it says we have a good foundation. So if we have a good year, we'll be in good shape. So that's one of those things. However, what we'd like to do is we'd like to potentially build off those standards to try to do more with that. I think my next slide says something with that. Yeah. So the two bills that passed in January of 2016 is the first one is for NJDOE to review the standards on computer science and check if they are appropriate. As of what I heard last, NJDOE had not done that. Chris, do you know if there's any plans to do that?
Oops, sorry, it took me a minute to get my mic unmiked there. They're aware of it. You know, I think some of you are aware that there's been kind of a shuffle, if you will, in positions at the DOE, and Larry Coco is no longer there. So they're aware of it, and you know, they're working on, or we're working on, you know, ramping up for that. You know, it's on their radar now, if I can say that.
That's great. And Chris, what I'd like to just say is that we have people who are very interested in being a part of that process if you need our help. You know, we got some people that understand computer science better than you know, anybody else in the state. So, you know, as time comes on, we'd love to be a part of that process.
That would be awesome, and you know, we can follow up. I mean, we kind of talk, or we're starting to talk somewhat regularly. So I would appreciate, you know, maybe a list. We can talk offline or after this meeting about it. But I am interested in some of those resources because we kind of are at that point. I think the timeline is kind of has been slightly compacted just because of the change in positions and Sue leaving. That type of thing. So, you know, it's kind of moving forward quickly. So yeah, I appreciate those resources.
Okay. The second bill that was signed by the governor was to make AP Computer Science count as a math class. At the time that bill was going through, there was not an AP CSP. But the bill was kind of vague. It could include either. We kind of made an agreement with NJDOE that it would only be for AP CSA and not for AP CSP, just because students should still have to take Algebra 2. I haven't seen if that's official yet, but that's a verbal agreement that we did make with NJDOE. Again, if you have questions, one is if you're on here, please ask them now as we're going along. And number two is if you're listening in, please feel free to text me. I can't see my email right now, but feel free to text me. I did send you a phone number. So the bills that we're dealing with right now is all schools are required to have computer science 2018-19 and a graduation requirement to 22-23. It passed the education committee back in June, but it seems to be stalled right now. I have not had a conversation with Assemblywoman Jones's office recently, but they seem like they are getting some concerns from groups such as NJEA and so forth. We always had a concern about this, the graduation requirement being a bit much. We probably need to start having some conversations with these groups. So if somebody wants to have some conversations, I have some connections. Somebody's going to speak?
Yeah, actually, it was funny because I was mentioning, you know, this push and some of the workshops that I teach, and I was surprised at the pushback I got from the teachers in the room. They were saying that that there's so many graduation requirements, and to add another one is going to cut students off from being able to take more APs.
Yeah.
So, you know, obviously, if you've got the kind of student who having as many APs as possible is a real concern, I understand that because I had two of those kids. So I think that we're going to experience a lot of pushback, but, you know, I don't know how much of a percentage to expect from that. I just know what I heard. It was immediate, and I was a little taken aback.
Yeah. So our view on this right now is that I don't know that we're willing to fight that fight. Our bigger feeling, actually, I'm going to a couple things with that view. Our bigger feeling is that we want all students to at least have the opportunity. And what we mean by all students have the opportunity is that every high school must offer it. So that is the more important part of this bill. When I worked with Assemblywoman Jones's office to write this, my hope was that they were going to write it in 2 bills, and I was surprised to see they put it in 1. So maybe we can, we talked about maybe splitting that out. However, if we do get a class, what we would like to do is have it a half-year class, kind of like a computer science principles, but non-AP type of thing. And it would sister up with financial literacy, because in day and age, I think computational thinking is just as important as financial literacy. So if we want to fight that battle at some point, that's where we would put it. But for right now, I'm not sure we would. So what was nice is about a month ago, a bill came out by Assemblyman McCurdy, and that just has the all high schools must offer computer science, and it kind of came out of nowhere. I've had a conversation with him and Codeorg, and he had a former startup company that he had in high school. He seemed like he made quite a bit of money off of it, and then he sold it to join the army and go in Afghanistan. And now he's, now he's in the assembly. Seems like a really good guy and really interested in what we're doing. So potentially we will put our weight behind 4233 instead of the first one, and it might be a little bit easier for us. And the computer science teaching endorsement, we're still trying to get that going. Not sure, it doesn't seem like there's any opposition to it, but it just seems like we're just not getting it going. So before I go on, are there any questions about pending legislation? Okay, so the stakeholders that we need to have kind of get together: Department of Education, legislators, Education Association, K12 and higher education, industry, and et cetera. So we really have a lot of those people on the line right here. And we do have some friends in legislation, which have been pretty helpful to us. It's just a slow process when you don't have the governor's office pushing it through. So that's part of our problem here. The key assembly people that we have been dealing with are these people right here. I've had conversations with all of their offices and face-to-face meetings with many of them. I'm sure there's others, but when we're doing contacts, these would be our first contacts that we'd want to make, and then gonna go from there. NJDOE, some of the people that we've had contacts with. I saw that Kimberly just became acting commissioner. Did that just happen, Chris?
No, actually, it's been several months now,
Okay.
and I really like her. She has been great. I really respect her and the kind of leadership right now that she's shown. Kimberly's been really good at the DOE. But yeah, no, it's been several months.
And is Barry no longer there either?
Barry is, I'm not exactly sure what her role is. She's no longer in our office or in our building. I think she might be doing like consulting or something along those lines. But she is no longer like in the assessment office. But she is still somehow connected. I'm just not exactly sure her exact job description or role.
Yeah, I was doing some searches and I found that she was hired by Asbury Park for something in their school district. But Barry was a tremendous asset. But I think Chris is saying that Joshua is going to be one of our key advocates. Is that correct?
Yeah, Joshua's definitely. I've been kind of pushing him a little bit. I think right now, because he's new at the state, he's got a lot on his plate. But he kind of sees a good fit with our office right now, and being that there's not a lot else going on with any of the other offices, I think he's kind of willing to, or currently has been willing to raise his hand, if you will. I don't know how to better phrase that. But I've been kind of pumping him full of all the information that I've been receiving between you and Code.org. So he is completely aware, and I think he's trying to move things forward for us. So right now, he is definitely kind of taking the lead. I don't know that anybody officially has the lead on computer science at the Department of Ed, but right now, without a doubt, he's the closest thing for us.
Good. Chris, just let me give a little plug. Chris has got a website out there now to try to get people connected, and one of his links on his website is for computer science educators to talk to each other. So actually, Chris, when we're done with this, maybe you can do a respond to all with that website link, and maybe some people can get on there for some good communication through that.
Yeah, the website's kind of based around communities of practice, and I just saw it as an obvious choice to. It's kind of my own way to get it to be a little bit more visible. So I made it a community practice there as well. So hopefully we can kind of grow that. Right now, STEM has the most participants. So hopefully after attending your meeting and working with you all, we can kind of pump that up to be a very active group to better inform the DOE and other districts what's happening. You'd be surprised at the pockets of excellence and pockets of need across the state. So I think it could be a good opportunity for you guys to share what's happening.
Yeah, if you could share that would be great.
Absolutely.
Okay. So what I've kind of in thinking about what was happening out in Arizona with all these different governors, and maybe you guys got a chance to see the Governors for Computer Science video I had shared, a little 2-minute video about the governors talking about it, is that now's an opportunity for us to talk to the people that might be candidates for governor. So I think Phil Murphy is the only one that's officially a candidate right now. I've sent both the Lieutenant Governor and Phil Murphy both an email and a Twitter. I've got an email back from Phil Murphy's office, and they did send me to the link for his computer science education. Send me to a link to his webpage, and right at the top it says how he supports K12 STEM education, which is really important. So I don't know if anybody has any connections with either of these people. I'm getting a text from Tony right now. But we would love to have some conversations about that. So Tony has some connections with the governor's office, and I'm going to supply him with some information about that to try to get in touch with the lieutenant governor. So, but again, I really think if we get on the platform of somebody running for a governor, when they become governor, we will be, in way steps ahead of that. So, any thoughts on that? Okay, I'll stay in touch with Tony on that. So, but maybe somebody, actually, I'm going to throw this out there right now. If you Google Phil Murphy and find out he has a link, just send him a quick email that says, hey, you should talk about computer science education. And if we get a whole bunch of people doing that, then that might be a good thing. Have to be very careful not to do that as a CSTA representative because we're not allowed to endorse people, but as a personal private citizen, you can, let your views be known. All right.
Claudette has a question. I'm monitoring the live chat on the YouTube as well.
Thank you.
And Claudette wants to know if we know where these folks are, where they're located in the state. So I guess, releasing a little more information, contact information is what she's looking for.
I cannot find the lieutenant governor's email. It actually goes through the governor's office. So all I could do is find the Twitter. Phil Murphy, I'm not sure where he's located, but if you look it up, he's got a ton of information about his stances on things, and I do have a link in this thing. I can probably forward this PowerPoint to everybody too, if we want to.
If you forward it to me, I will upload it to Google Drive and send it out to everybody as a link.
Okay, is this Michelle?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Daryl.
Yes.
Hey, it's Tony. I could forward I have a really good boss as an aide to Chris Christie, and I have contact with Kim Guadano. So possibly I could reach out to her. There's two other people on that side of the platform, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Jack Chitterelli, I believe he's from Central Jersey or Somerset, maybe. And believe it or not, Joe Piscopo are two people who are also throwing their hats in the ring for governor.
I tell you what, if you know, we really need to divide up this work. So anything anybody can do as individuals, and the only thing I ask is that everybody just kind of keep me in contact, just so that we know what's going on. But that would be awesome, you know. I did send everybody on one of the emails that I sent today. I'm sorry for all of them, but on one of the emails I sent today, I sent you a overview of what's happening in New Jersey as far as computer science education. That's a perfect thing for one is you to have a talking points when you talk to people, or two is to forward to people and feel forward to, and feel free to put your name on it too. I mean, I don't care whose name's on it.
Excellent.
Okay. And somehow we have to figure out how to keep in contact more, because the CSNJ Google group just doesn't seem to be working. So I just would like us to all stay in contact a little bit more as far as that. Lynn, just real quick, can you maybe forward that PowerPoint to Michelle, since I know it was on yours originally?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. All right, professional development is a key component to our success, and there's a couple really, really cool things going on. One of the biggest ones is TCNJ, and I have Steve O'Brien's name there because he's a contact, but you know, with you know, Manisha's down there and everybody else at TCNJ just working together, it can be some really, really good stuff that can come out of this TCNJ stuff. So there are a couple things. One is a Center for Excellence in STEM Education got a grant to train computer science teachers. That grant is a 3-year grant to try to train 600 teachers in high school and middle school. Right now, they're looking for people to be professional development facilitators. So if you're interested, contact Steve. And they're also, I believe, looking for an administrator position to kind of run the program, an opportunity to talk to Steve. And a second thing that's happening down there, which is exciting, is that Code.org, they applied to be the regional partner for Code.org. So there will be a lot of Code.org training that happens out there. And those Code.org trainings will be for 2-level classes. One is for CSP, and the second one is for their new middle school class, which is called Computer Science Discovery. And there's an opportunity for people who want to apply to be facilitators through Code.org and paid through Code.org. There's an opportunity. The first round applications were due yesterday, but the second round applications are due by the end of the month. Steve, do you want to say anything about that?
Yeah, probably a couple things if people can hear me.
Yes.
So Daryl reviewed the facilitator call for Code.org, and so I don't need to repeat anything there. So that's for people that can lead professional development for those 2 computer science courses. As an FYI, the middle school course looks really, really exciting. I think most people are familiar with the CSP, but the middle school looks really neat. They're also looking for teachers as well. So they're opening applications, I think yesterday, for teachers to apply. So a teacher could go to some special, much deeper 1-week-long trainings that's run by Code.org this coming summer. And so pass it on to teachers. Just have them go to the Code.org website and they'll find it. fairly easily, I think. Yeah, so in our STEM center, just a brief overview, we're heavily involved in all aspects of STEM education at the center. So we do integrative STEM, we do math ed, science ed, and we view computer science as being a really valid, really vibrant part of STEM. And so we started pursuing anything we can do to help computer science education in New Jersey and the surrounding regions. To give you a feeling for how much PD we do, I'm guessing we've probably done PD for 1,500 to 2,000 teachers in the last 4 or 5 years on integrative STEM methods, in curriculum. So we're very heavily involved with that. So now we're trying to branch out into computer science. One of the main goals of that grant, you can see the title of it that we got, the 3-year grant, is building computer science capacity in New Jersey. One thing we found is it's hard even to build capacity on the grant because there's very few folks in New Jersey area that are involved and understand computer science in the K-12 context and also can help manage and run PD. And so we're trying to reach out to folks to get both more facilitators, which has been very hard to do, as well as to administer the grant as well. And so we're looking at a couple options, but if you are interested or known who might be in anything I've talked about, go to the website and look up my email or phone number and we can talk.
And his email actually is on that list too. So it's Steve O'Brien from.
Thanks. Yep.
Steve, do you do a lot of that mostly in your building campus area or online, or do you go to different schools?
Yeah. So all the above is doable, and so the purpose of the grant is to build capacity. So we will be doing trainings on campus. We'll be doing PD sessions on campus. We'll be doing PD sessions by webinars. We've probably had 3 or 4 webinars already. And we'll also go out to schools. And so we want to make it very easy, and the grant has money for folks to be able to offer, for us to be able to offer those different aspects or different formats of PD. Our general plan is to have, like 3 to 5 repeatable PD products, so to speak, meaning, maybe something on CSP. We had one last summer on Introduction to Code.org. I say that as an example. It's a little confusing because it's not a Code.org PD session, right? Code.org does not offer an intro to Code.org, but teachers might find it be really interesting and useful to have an intro to Code.org. What kinds of stuff do they do and what's valuable about what they do and so on and so forth. So we'll probably have 3 to 5 kind of repeatable products so we can just be efficient with our resources, and probably 2 or 3 just sort of more fun product events that we might change every 6 months to 12 months. So for example, we're doing some like Arduino play days where you can come in and really go deeper into Arduino if you want to, or play with a variety of different things. One idea we're doing was bringing Makey-Makeys, bringing lots of other neat technologies that people are using in some computational thinking kinds of curriculum. And so, a bunch of things we're trying to do in addition to those sort of more classic PD events. Hopefully that helps.
This could be really instrumental in what we're trying to do of getting computer sciences in all schools and giving all students the opportunity. Right now, our critical missing resource is teachers who can teach it. And so this is a great way. I'm hoping in the future that, the legislation and the Department of Education and so forth can fund some, have some funds for professional development and go from there. But this is a great way to start. And we're very fortunate to get this grant from the Martinson Foundation. It's a substantial grant from the Martinson Foundation. Just to mention a couple other PD opportunities, CS4 HS is just great. Rutgers and Kane have done this for about 7 or 8 years, I think, and really been an inspiration to me and many other people on this call. I believe Fairleigh Dickinson did it last year for the first time, and Dan, I can't remember Dan's last name, down at Princeton did a high-end one, a pretty intense one for CS4 HS. So there's that opportunities for that, and hopefully we continue to do that. Google is definitely committed to continuing this, and I have some contacts in Google's office there that if other people want to do it, I'd be willing to work with you and get you the contacts. So I don't know if in South Jersey you have Stockton or Rowan or something like that. We want to get something, but that's good. The second thing is that through those contacts, I was invited to apply for a middle school CS4 HS grant. It's not called CS4 HS. I don't know if it's CS for middle school or whatever it is. But there is a grant opportunity there that's due by February 26th. If anybody's interested in applying for that, I can't take this on myself, but I'd be willing to work with somebody and at least support it if somebody wants to do that. It was only opened up to a limited number of people, so I think the chances of getting it would be pretty decent as far as that goes. And the last one with professional development that I have right now is that I was just asked by Dan at Princeton to potentially jump on a National Science Foundation grant to do some partnership. I kind of recommended that he maybe talk to Fran about that. I know Fran, I think you've done some stuff with National Science Foundation grants. So those are some professional development things that are coming up. Any questions with that or any comments with that?
We're doing a lot of professional development for CS down at Stockton University. We have Makerspace Mondays at least once a month, and where the teachers come in and they get to play with makey-makeys, little bits, 3D printers, and just everything that we've been doing in our CSTA meetings. And a lot of it is based on computer science principles. So we are really trying to make inroads in South Jersey. We'll definitely look at the grant and see what else we can do.
Yeah, the grants, I'll tell you, grants are pretty nice sized grants, and you could probably contact Fran or Pat. They've both done numerous grants, but like I said, Codeorg, Google has definitely recommitted to this because they were away from it for a year or two, and they've recommitted to it. Actually, kind of cool. They flew some people in from California into my school and did a neat little video. So there's a 2-minute video with used to promote it with me and my students. So kind of neat. But so if anybody's interested, any other comments on that?
Yeah, Daryl, we've been invited to do that middle school thing too, so I'll work on that with you if you want.
Okay, I would need some additional people, definitely, but I do think it's the next direction to go is work on that middle school stuff. So that's great, Fran.
Yeah, I'd definitely be interested in looking at that.
Good. Is that Michelle?
Yes.
Good. All right. I don't know if there can be partnerships on those or 2 separate ones or whatever, but I can support whichever ones are going. Okay. Just a little bit about the chapters. I think the chapters are going to play a huge role in this whole process. I know Claudette has had some real interest in creating a hub model. I love what you said, Michelle, about the Makerspace Mondays or the Maker Mondays or whatever you said. And like it'd be great if we could do that. Colleges and chapters get together and work on those types of things. But the chapters really, can play a huge role in what's going to happen over the next couple of years in developing teachers. This summer we put together a CSTA NJ steering committee, and now that I think about it, it's really CSNJ to a large extent, with or most of it is. But I don't know that much has happened with these subcommittees. But maybe we need to continue with these subcommittees, or kind of modify these subcommittees or something like that. But we don't have time to talk about it right now. I'm going to go till 8:15 if that's okay with everybody, because we got the late start. But I do have an 8:30 phone call meeting, another meeting at 8:30. So does anybody want to make a comment about chapters without going into too much detail?
No, but with all the PD that you guys have been talking about and kind of interesting events with the Makey. That Innovate Exchange.org website that you mentioned earlier, there's an area on there for people to post events, and it just might be a great way for you guys to reach maybe your non-traditional audience, to just kind of be able to promote some of those events and professional development to maybe a crowd that you wouldn't normally reach. So it might be another opportunity for you to extend that reach a little bit.
Okay. And Chris will send that out. And Chris will send that out afterwards. I recommend everybody get involved with that.
Yeah, awesome.
Anything else before I move on?
Yeah, Daryl, we have our chapter meeting tomorrow night, so we'll kind of review this with other members and then see other ways that we can help out on that list that you had just put up there. If there's other ways that you want us to, jump on board in those things.
Yeah, the names I have next to it were kind of the people who said, yeah, I kind of will share that. But again, I don't think we've really progressed very much on most of these, and it probably needs to be reviewed. But yeah, if people want to take hold of these things and start moving forward, that would be great. I mean, some of them you move forward with, some of them we can't necessarily move forward with. I'm not sure about the half-year curriculum, whether we can move forward with it. So, well, I guess we could. I just don't know if it's going to be passed into the bill or not. But I think there's also a CSTA Central New Jersey / Northern New Jersey meeting tomorrow night also. Claudette, I don't know if you're on here, but
there will be a meeting. I'll make sure Daryl Dietrich shares all of this information at that meeting.
Okay. All right. Am I supposed to speak at the Southern Jersey meeting tomorrow too? But we can talk about that later.
Yeah, we talk about that later. We have time, but if you don't have time, that's okay. We'll just kind of reiterate what we've been going over here, and I'll probably take a couple of those slides and add them to our slides.
Okay. That's
Claudette was answering your question. She said that she has, because I asked her about the hub model, and she said that it's based on the UK model for CS education, and she'll try and track down a good link to send us.
okay. I don't know if maybe we can recreate the CSNJ Google group at some point. I don't know if that's on me or on somebody else, but this is great conversation, and I hope we can continue these things. So, but for whatever reason, that CSNJ Google group was just not working for me anymore. This K12 computer science framework is, again, awesome. If you guys get some free reading time to skim it, I think I gave Myra a copy, and I know Chris has a copy, but it's all online. So if you get a chance to look at that, it's really, really good. So here's the big thing. So we're thinking about having a computer science summit. Fran organized something like this last year, and it actually got a lot of things some really good conversations started. And we're thinking about having a second one, maybe basing it in Trenton, and we've already had this conversation with Assemblyman McCurry about maybe him even hosting it and part of the conversation. So we'd like to get some people that are interested in helping organize this and plan it and so forth. So Lynn is interested in that, and I am interested in that. It's maybe even an opportunity to get some of the people running for governor involved. I'm not sure, but we're looking to do something in the springtime with that. So any comments on that?
Daryl, what's your goal?
Our goal is probably what we're doing right now, to some extent. Our goal is to let people know that, a lot of kids in New Jersey don't have the opportunity for computer science education, which, I don't think people know that. And the second thing is just to see how people can work together to make that an opportunity. I'm a big believer. I'll tell you what, the reason, this is my 5th year of doing this advocacy work, and I'm going to put in a good year here and then see where it goes from there. But what I want is I want students from low-income schools to be able to take computer science education so that they can get themselves out of low income. That is my driving force right now. And unfortunately, in a lot of our low-income schools, we don't have that opportunity. And a great side effect of that is that the more computer science education we have, there are 500,000 jobs in this country right now in computing that cannot be filled. And those companies will move those jobs to New Jersey if we have the best computer science education. So those are the two things that I would talk to about anybody running for governor or, or office. So.
But who's your audience though, Daryl? I mean, you want to have it in Trenton so you can attract politicians or politicians' assistants.
Yeah, that would be part of it. I really want to have NJDOE involved in this conversation. I want to have the colleges involved, because if these bills pass, we have to make sure that we have the training going on. We want to make sure these bills pass, so we need the legislators involved. We want to have funding for professional development, so the legislators and the governor's office and the DOE. So basically going back to our original 5 goals. Does that make sense, Steve?
Yeah,
It does
can
make sense.
can I jump in on that as well?
Yeah, go ahead.
We were kind of thinking that, because I talked about this with Daryl and a couple other people, that maybe could just, general knowledge and information, getting everybody together, all the different stakeholders who would be possibly effectuating, creating more opportunities, legislators, DOE, everybody who's hopefully trying to put something together, but it's still very disjointed and a little bit fractured. And if we can provide some sort of a basis and foundation and use this as a, a springboard so that everybody's on the same page, I think that would be very helpful.
So suggestion, Daryl and Lynn and others might be, since TCNJ is so close to Trenton, maybe we can get some nice, really nice looking space at TCNJ, maybe in the new education building and whatnot. And that would be a place that certainly Trenton folks could make an easy 5 or 10 minute drive to TCNJ. And then, I don't know, but I can maybe try to work on space for sure.
Okay. I tell you what, Steve, let's have that conversation, at least you, me, and Lynn.
Yeah.
And then Tony, maybe you have some connections that you can help there. And then Chris, I'd love to have more people from NJDOE. Actually, at the one that Fran put together, where there were 3 people from NJDOE, which was very helpful. That's where Chris and I met, actually.
So Daryl, the one we put together was through a grant, and that was a 3-year grant. So we might still have some of that grant funding.
Okay. That's great. Let's just continue these conversations. That's awesome. So I think this is a big thing to get that word out to more people. So Fran, what you did was awesome. It was really big, and I think, to get more Trenton involved would be good.
And again, Daryl, you'd probably talk a little bit about the branding of that event and what gets said and what attracts people to come, right? So it's valuable for them. Yeah.
I tell you what, because we're kind of running out of time, let's make that another conversation here. But I agree. We to me, it's obvious. I understand why we need computer science education. I can't understand why other people don't, but I guess we have to verbalize that to everybody. So, yeah. Okay. Comments on that? So Lynn and I will get something together about that. This is just some of the statistics. These are types of things that, sharing with your legislators, sharing with your school board, sharing with, whoever. I have a former student. She's 21 years old and she just got a job with White Pages, making $101,000, $105,000 first year out of college, and I've got another one who's going to be starting at Google in a year and making $150,000. Just amazing the opportunities that these students have. So, but on a political aspect too, I think it's big to say we can bring these jobs to New Jersey. I saw a statistic the other day that of the people in New Jersey who move, 63% of them move out of the state. and it was the highest state in the nation as far as percentage of people moving out of the state. If we have the best computer science education, we can bring these jobs to New Jersey. So, without going into much detail, computer science principles is going to have a huge impact, I think. Actually, I talked to the gentleman from College Board, and they expect, and actually, Fran, maybe you can verify this. So we're up to like 50,000 people taking computer science A after years and years of hard work. In the first year of taking this, they expect to have 30 to 40,000 people take the computer science. I just got a note that Myra lost the video. Did everybody lose it?
I still have it.
I still have it, and I'm checking the live.
Yeah, I still have you. I'm with you.
Oh, good. I didn't know how long I might have been talking to myself there. So yeah, so what they said is 30 to 40,000 people might be taking that. Fran is, I don't know if you know any of those numbers.
That's probably about right.
That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. NJDOE, Steve, the one thing Chris, the one thing I really still could use is how many schools in New Jersey offer computer science. So if you ever get that statistic, I'd appreciate it. And
yeah, I haven't forgotten about you. I'm still working.
all right,
We'll see how closely we can home that in for you.
good. Yeah, I mean, hopefully the statistic comes back that, hey, most schools offer it, but if it comes back that somebody needs to use it. But if it comes back that most schools don't offer it, then it helps us in our effort. There is some upcoming Assembly and Senate meetings on education. Unfortunately, it does not look like there's anything on computer science on the Senate Education Committee meeting on Thursday. I'm trying to get something on there, but I'm just not having any luck right now. But the chair of that department of that meeting was on maternity leave, and this is the first time they've had a meeting in over 6 months. So they're probably trying to get some other things out of the way. But Codeorg is being of some help in that regard right there. So writing letters and phone calls. I don't know, Lynn, if you want to say anything more about that.
No, not really. Just do it. I think we have any? We have a template somewhere, right? Or we need a template written up specific to our requests and needs.
I have that thing that I created to give to NJDOE, but I'm not sure if there's a template for a letter or a template for a phone call. I don't remember.
Well, let's see. We have something like that. We'll send it out to everybody when we send them, or Michelle can post it to the drive for this. And then we can also send it out via email and people can kind of modify it.
Okay.
So in a Word document that can be reused and sent out. And then maybe like a template of a phone call script. But I think we should sort of coordinate, and maybe, we did have a list of people that could be contacted. And I know that there's probably some reorganization going on for the different education committees. One of the other committee that I thought we should get in touch with is the labor committee, and the people that are involved in labor. And I know that like the Perkins people and so on in DOE, just to see if they're, would come to our summit and be part of that same process, but also just for an education of computer science and whatnot. Chris, I'm not sure what you think about that. But I think that the labor department should be on board with this as well, since we're trying to create job opportunities for our students so they can stay, in state and, become, after spending all the money we spend on them at K-12, to then, get those other opportunities to stay here within the state and then actually become income producing and stay here after we've invested all that money in education.
Yeah, and actually, I was able to gather a lot of great information as to what other states CTE. So I've been working with Nikolai Barada in the CTE department to kind of maybe close that gap a little bit and add a whole nother voice for you guys, at least at the DOE level.
Okay, so guys, this is just awesome stuff. I'm thankful to have so many dedicated people involved with this process. But we just have to kind of figure out where we're going to go from here and how we can all make an impact. 2017, like I said, is going to be the make or break year, and we have an opportunity, if we have a good 2017, to be one of the top 5 states in the nation. As far as computer science education goes, particularly if we get the endorsement passed and if we get the all high schools must offer it, that'll put us right up at the top. And then if we get all these professional development things going too, to train these teachers, you know, it'd be really, really, really a great thing. So, you know, we're running out of time here, but does anybody have a next thought? Like, do you want to meet again in a couple weeks or a month or something? Try to do it through Steve's, the thing that Steve offered.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd be happy to meet again. And in fact, actually, Steve, I'd like to, I think we've exchanged an email. I'd like to follow up with you next week if we could.
Sure, yeah. So this is Steve. A couple of quick comments unrelated to each other, but just as an FYI, Chris, I'm also a faculty member and former chair of our tech and engineering teacher prep program. And we also have a K-5 program. So there's a lot of academic teacher prep connections we can talk about. So I'm not just the director of the STEM Center. And Lynn, you might find it useful and others that the funding agent for that 3-year grant for building computer science capacity in New Jersey is the Martinson Family Foundation. And John Martinson is a venture capitalist. And he fell in love with the idea because he funds a lot of software companies and they typically have to change their business plan because they can't find the CS resources locally. And so a lot of these companies move overseas, you know, to get themselves up and running because that's the only way they have access to computer science expertise. So the labor connection is very real for this, and it's why he was really excited about funding this grant. So anyway.
I'm going to stop. I think I just stopped sharing. Did I?
Yep.
All right, good. All right. So really, I'll tell you what, I can talk here for 3 more hours about all this stuff. It's so awesome, but I do have to go to another meeting here in 10 minutes. Would we say that we could do this? One is a couple people sent out a couple emails with some things, you know, different aspects that we've talked about at this meeting. And 2 is we set up another meeting that that Steve could set up for us. And I'm just going to say it's 3 weeks. Is that in January 31st? Is that too soon to do another one?
31st works for me.
Okay. So Steve,
Fine with me.
can you set something up, Steve, for the 31st from 7 to 8:30?
Yeah, I'll try.
Okay. Let us know, and if not, you can pick another date, and we'll see who can do there. But just think about all this stuff. Let's maybe have some good email conversations. You know, maybe we can get a different way to do some communication, because I know this isn't everybody. There's more people that should be on here too. So, but we have the right people, man. What a dedicated bunch of people. It's pretty awesome. So, all right. Any closing comments before we go?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for keeping all your efforts up and doing all of the hard work you've been doing.
Yeah, well, it's worth it, man. It's for the kids, and it's a good stuff. But I feel the biggest blessing of this is working with so many great people. I mean, I've got some great friends over this in the last few years, so it's good.
So Daryl, you should get 1 or 2% of the salary of all these students that are getting high-paying jobs. It's a very small cut to ask for, and you could retire when you're 39.
Yeah.
Claudette asked what the goals are between now and 3 weeks from now for the next meeting might be.
So I would say the goals are, a couple of people share some email information that has happened. I'm going to really push some things with legislation, and I will try to keep people in touch with that. And if you're interested in something with the summit or anything like that, contact Lynn or I. Is there anything else? Chris, I know Chris has a couple of things he's going to follow up on. So I think that's it.